or you've worked with Tableau Server, you've done this with your job, go ahead and put like a 1 plus. I made a bar graph once. I love it. All right. That's good. Okay, cool. So the majority of people are brand new or people that have worked with visualization lately, and that's fine. So what we're going to do tonight is basically go through building out content within Tableau and getting you guys familiar with the user interface, how you connected data, and building out a dashboard and being able to kind of tell a story and answer questions with data. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Close this a little bit. I'm going to also go ahead and share some resources with you guys that will be good, especially for people that are brand new. There's a couple things that I always like to highlight, and when I work with people that have learned Tableau and gotten certified and are really good, they also give me some pretty good feedback as far as what I'll recommend to you now. So that's good. Let's share my screen. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and share. You guys should be taking a look at the Tableau website. Are you able to share or see my screen?
Yes, you can see it.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So before we get into anything, I'm just going to kind of walk through a couple different things. So for those of you who are brand new, tonight we are going to go into Tableau Desktop. So we're going to be opening up the desktop application. We're going to be connecting to data. If you don't have Tableau Desktop downloaded, now would be the time to do that. So go out to tableau.com and make your way over to the Try Now button and go ahead and just download a trial. For anyone who has an EDU account, you can get a 1-year license for free using your EDU account, but the company will ask to validate it, and you're probably not going to get that validation during our workshop tonight. So getting a free 14-day trial will be the best way for you to get involved. So go ahead and go there, download it. And for everybody else, you can kind of just sit back and relax for a little bit. I'm going to cover some resources, and I'm going to dive into kind of what we're going to do tonight. So nobody has to do anything other than download Tableau Desktop if you haven't already. So one thing that I really like to highlight for anybody who is new to Tableau, Tableau is a company that was built to help people see and understand their data. So from the time that the company was built, that was the whole purpose of this platform. So now if you look at Tableau, there are different products that we offer now. So Tableau Desktop is going to be the primary tool that we're going to stay in tonight. There's also another tool that we launched a couple of years ago called Tableau Prep. So for anybody that is, cleaning data, joining data from different sources, different databases, if you're adding in, advanced analytics with Python or R, you can add in your scripts into your flows for prep. We're not going to cover any of that tonight because this is just an intro. But if you are interested in learning a little bit about Tableau Prep, I suggest you to go grab a trial of that. Along with Tableau Desktop and Tableau Prep, we have Tableau Server. So you can think about these products as Tableau Desktop is where you connect to data, build out visualizations, build out data sets. And Tableau Prep is where you connect your data, clean it, and put it into Tableau Desktop. And when you're ready to share that data with your organization or your team, you publish to Tableau Server. So we also offer Tableau Online, which is essentially just a Tableau server that's managed by Tableau. And so those are the kind of primary products we offer with the platform. The website is always a great place to go, especially if you're a beginner. And so the one thing that I would really recommend for you guys is to go to resources and then go to learn, so you can check out some of the free training videos that we offer. So this is phenomenal content. Internally at Tableau, we actually use these training videos to get certified. So I'm desktop professional, so I was able to go through that course, and I did it all through these training videos, the blog, the community, free resources. I didn't have to pay for anything to any formal training to go through. So it's all right there. Highly recommend it. Outside of this, another great resource that you guys can use is Tableau Public. So for anybody who is new to Tableau, this is also a really great place for you to learn about what other people are doing with data visualization. This is a great place for students when I'm coming in and I'm teaching classes at different universities. I always like to point students to come out to Tableau Public because this is a great complement to your resume. If you're developing different dashboards or you just want to show off your storytelling ability, you can go here and kind of publish all your content. So I'll go to gallery just so you can get a feel for the kind of creativity that's out there. So if you're learning Tableau, this is a great place to go just to kind of go and check out different visualizations, get some ideas, some inspiration for what you may want to look at or what you may want to build. And you can go ahead and play with all that's here. So highly recommend that. You can also go in, they highlight different authors who tend to be pretty good. So I'll just grab somebody random. And you can check out, people basically have their profile picture and then all of the different visualizations they have. Also worth noting that a lot of people end up taking their dashboards and things that they publish on Tableau Public and embed them into their own personal blog, or you embed them into some other website. You're welcome to do that as well. So that's just a little bit of an overview about the company and the products. I'm going to go ahead and jump into Tableau Desktop right now, just to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing tonight. So no need to jump into your Tableau Desktop yet. Just kind of sit back and watch and relax for a little bit, just to get an overview of what we're going to do today. So I'm going to open up Tableau Desktop and basically kind of start this journey of what we're going to do tonight. So before I came to Tableau, I was a financial analyst working at several different companies. And the majority of my job was kind of curating data, building data visualizations, trying to tell a story with data. So this is going to kind of highlight a lot of different things. A lot of the times I would be working in Excel or taking data out of Oracle or MicroStrategy, something like that. Tableau, when you open up Tableau Desktop, the first thing that you get to do is to choose what kind of data connection you have. Tonight, we're going to be working with Excel files, but for work, or if you're working with any other organization, they may have Dropbox files, Amazon, Google BigQuery, anything like that. We've got about 70 plus named connectors that you basically authenticate into that database, and you're able to pull those tables in. You may also be able to connect to different databases and pull tables in from different databases as well, to be able to pull in all those disparate data sources and run analytics against those. So within Tableau, they always kind of have these stock dashboards that you can take a look at later. Off to the right, there's getting started videos. The training videos that we mentioned before on the website are right here from within Tableau Desktop. So that's just a little bit of walk around the UI. So for what we're going to do today, I'm going to connect to a flat file that's out on my desktop that basically looks at motor vehicle accidents in the New York City area. So I'm going to go ahead and open this data up in Tableau. And again, for everybody that's watching, nothing that you need to do right now. This is not data that I expect you to have. We're just going to walk through at a high level what we're going to be doing tonight. So I've connected to this data sitting in a text file. I can kind of scan across this table and see, all right, here's all of the different field names that I have. I've got lat, long, zip code, street names. I've got contributing factors. I've got some cool things that are in here. And then I've got this connection type. So what I'm going to do is choose an extract connection, just so I can move this data in memory and work off of it a little faster. We have a live connection to data that's going to be changing, every second or so, or every couple minutes, but that's not necessary for the flat file that I'm working with. So I'll just go ahead and make this connection. And we're going to load up about 1 million records, maybe a little bit more. Cool. So now we're in Tableau Desktop. So we've loaded in our data and I've got this sheet 1 that I'm looking at here. So this is our blank canvas. This is where we get started. So for me, let's say that we're looking at city safety. We're trying to work on the New York City Zero or initiative to improve public safety. And so we're going to start to look at accidents that have happened over the past couple of years and see if we can pick up on some trends or things like that. So first thing that I'm going to do is kind of look at the overall. I've got like 1.7 million records, and I'd really like to see kind of a trend. How this is looking over time. Okay, this is pretty interesting. So we had 2012. It looks like when we started measuring this data. We can see this as we go through 2016, 2017, 2018. We had a high and then started to drop down. Let's drill into some of these months a little bit and see if there's anything specific that really jumps out to us. Okay, so this is interesting. So we have this low point that's popping up in April of 2020. So I don't know if anybody's heard of this thing called COVID-19, but it looks like that has impacted a lot of this data. So that makes sense that we're seeing this happen right now. So, okay, so I have an idea of kind of this overall trend. So we'll kind of just put this, what is the accident trend? So I've got a kind of high level answer to what that would look like. Let's go ahead and also see if we can play around with some of this geographic data. So it looks like I've got zip code. So when I drop that out, I may want to take a look at the number of motor vehicle accidents, maybe drop this onto color. And down here, it looks like they're all kind of showing up as blank, but I've got some null values that are here. So go ahead and filter that out. All right, this looks pretty good. So zip code 11207 looks like it has like the most incidents that are occurring. So we've got a good idea of where things are happening. We'll kind of dive into this one more time and say, all right, let's break our accidents down by the contributing factor. So this is a little bit difficult for me to read kind of everything that's going across the screen. So I'm just going to flip this around, maybe sort it. And so I can get an idea of kind of some of these things that are rising to the top. So unspecified appears to show up the most. Then we've got attention, inattention, distraction, failure to yield, all these different types of things. So, okay, cool. So I'll type in a little title here. What are the reasons for accidents? And now what I'd like to do is kind of put this together into one singular view. So let's get our map up there. Let's add in that line chart. Let's add in that bar chart. Let's kind of expand this out. So what's been interesting is when I was going through and kind of developing each of these visualizations, I didn't start off by saying, hey, let's go ahead and build a bar chart. I just kind of chose the data that was important to me. And Tableau was able to plot it out in the best way, following visual best practices. So that's kind of the power of Tableau, and it opens people up easily to develop really great, stunning dashboards. So here, now that I've got these three views together, I may actually want to focus in on things like, hey, for April of 2020, that one point that we saw, what was, which of these zip codes was most impacted or had the most incidents at that month and date? And what about some of these different reasons, these reasons that are causing accidents? How does that change over time? And maybe we can look at the individual trend for some of these different zip codes. So within Tableau, I'm just going to do this kind of one-click solution, being able to kind of use one visualization to filter the rest. So if I want to find that 11207 zip code, I can see that, wow, this is actually a little bit of a change. 2016 had this all-time high, and then things dropped. I wonder what was causing that. Here, from the other side of it, we can go in and check out that point for April of 2020. So I'll go ahead and zoom in on this. So it looks like 11207, some of these other zip codes from below actually had a little bit more activity, where Manhattan area was actually pretty light during that time. So that makes sense, highly occupied areas, really dense population, people were staying inside. So those are all a couple different things that we were able to kind of dig into. So I did this within a couple of minutes. So we're going to use the rest of the time now to dive into some data so you guys can all kind of get through this and build our own dashboard together. So at this time, what I would like you to do is go ahead and open Tableau Desktop. And once that's open, I'll open this again for you. The way this is going to go is that I'll kind of try to tell you what we're going to do. I'll have you watch on my screen, and then I'll tell you, all right, now go ahead and go do that thing. Because I find in training, if you're watching me do something and you're trying to do it at the same time, you may miss a click here or there and fall behind. So for right now, just go ahead and watch my screen for a minute. What I'm going to do is, we're all going to connect to data. So now that you have Tableau Desktop open, the first thing that I would like you to do is to navigate over to Microsoft Excel. So you can go ahead and click on this, and I'd like you to navigate within your own folders. So this will be for your Tableau repository. When you download Tableau, this automatically gets loaded into your documents. So my Tableau repository, again, just watch me for a second. We'll go here, go to your data sources, 2020.3, and it's all being recorded across the top here, and then navigate to the Excel file called Superstore. If you don't have that, Felicia, where else did we post this?
I put it in the Tableau channel on the Discord.
There you go. So if you can't find it here within this folder, you also have another area that you can go to connect to that data. And again, it's just really important that you click on Excel first. So if you click on text file, you may navigate to this folder and not see anything. Just ensure that you're connecting to Excel. So I'll leave this up for about another minute. So again, opening up your documents, going to the Tableau repository, going into your data sources, 2020.3, US, and then opening up Superstore. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and open this file. And once you click open, so you've chosen that file, you hit open, then you're taken to the data source screen. So if there's anybody that hasn't made it to this screen yet, let me know. Looks like we're all there. All right, cool. So now that we're here, we're in our data source screen. Off to the left, you can see each of the tables that have been brought in with this data. So we've got orders, we've got people, and we've got returns. So what you're going to do is grab that orders table and bring that out. So if you drag it off to the right where it says drag tables here, you can drag it out and let it go. And essentially that's just going to load the table up off to the right. And then below, you'll see the data that populates. So because we're connecting to an Excel file off to the left, for orders, people, and returns, those are showing up as individual tables. So if you have reports that you're working with that are in Excel or CSV, each of the tabs will just show up as a table. If you're connecting to a database, you'll have each of the kind of main queries up top, and then all of the tables that connect there that build it out below it. So here we can kind of explore our data looking across the top. So we've got order ID, order date, ship mode, segment. So this is a pretty rich data set, and it's really good for training for new users. Up at the top, we've got our connection type. So go ahead and change that little radio knob up at the top. Go ahead and look at my screen for a second if you're kind of navigating around. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this from live to extract. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that now. Extract will include all data, great. And then at the bottom, again, if you look at my screen, there's this sheet 1 that says go to worksheet. It's highlighted in orange, and I'm also highlighting it with my pointer. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that as well. It's gonna ask if I want to save this, and I'll go ahead and hit yes. All right, and now we're back in that UI that you guys saw from the demo. So if there's anybody that is not here yet, let us know, because this is kind of where we start to take off and build things out. Felicia, are we all good?
So someone wants you to repeat the steps to get here again?
Okay, yeah. So again, for everybody else, that we're just gonna kind of go over these steps again. From the opening screen, you look at where you're gonna connect. So we're gonna choose Microsoft Excel. Choosing Excel, you navigate out to Superstore, or you navigate to that file, the Superstore file that Felicia was able to save in the Discord. So you go connect to that. Wherever that is, you bring that in, double click, open it up, and you're gonna get brought into a data source screen. And then you just bring over your orders. So just by clicking and dragging, moving that orders table off to the right. And that's it. And then from there, once your data is loaded in, you just go over and click on the bottom where it says sheet 1. Click on that. All right, cool. So from here, for everyone else, and hopefully we're all on the same page now. So here you can see that our table's been changed a little bit. So we've got all of the different field names that are categorical that we can bucket things up by. They're up at the top, and everything that we can apply some sort of aggregation to or math against is going to be at the bottom. So we're sitting here now. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and double click on sales, or click and drag sales out into the drop field here, right in the middle of your screen. So for anybody who's done that, some people who clicked and dragged may see kind of what I see, this number, about 2 million, 2.3 million. Some other people may see a bar. Regardless of where that's at, let's take some time to get familiar with the Tableau UI before we go any further. So stop what you're doing, kind of look at my screen for a second. We're going to be looking and playing around with all of the different fields from within Tableau. When we move them from this data pane off on the left, I'll tell you which ones to go ahead and look at. Go ahead, and when you do that, I'll say grab the sales pill. And if you look at this really quick on my screen, you can see that it looks like there's this little pill that's out here in the marks card. So I'm going to kind of go over this really briefly, but go ahead and check out my screen. So within Tableau in the UI, we have a couple places where we can move these pills around. One is pages, another one is filters, one is marks, where we can drag our fields onto color, size, text, detail, and tooltip. And then within Tableau, up at the top here, we've got columns and we've got rows. So those are all the places where if I were to grab my sales pill, I could move it from one place to another just by clicking and dragging and moving it to a couple different places. So what I'd like you to do right now is whatever you grabbed sales and you put it somewhere, go ahead and just practice doing what I'm doing. Grab that pill and move it around the user interface on the marks card, move it to rows, move it to columns. Just play around with that and get familiar with being able to do that, because that's pretty much what Tableau is. I'll give you guys a minute to go ahead and do that. All right, cool. And wherever you've landed, go ahead and take a look at my screen again. What I'd like you guys to do is navigate up to the toolbar, where you can see first it starts with the Tableau symbol in the far left that I'm highlighting. And then as I go across, we've got a couple different things here. So we've got the undo button, the most used button in Tableau, by the way. So you can feel free to explore and do whatever you want, but then you can always use undo to get your way all the way back to where you started. Saving, adding data, pausing calculations, adding a new worksheet, duplicating, and then clearing out a worksheet. So we're going to use a couple of these tonight, but what I'd like you to do is use this clear sheet icon right in that toolbar. Go ahead and clear that out. And so we have a fresh screen again. So we are going to be analyzing the Superstore sales set today. And we're going to do this by using Tableau. And so what we're looking for are just kind of interesting insights, kind of the same way that we were looking at that New York City car collision data set. So what I would like you to do is go ahead and double click on sales, or at least make sure that your sales pill is sitting in the rows shelf. And then go ahead and also grab your order date. So I'm going to drag order date out to columns. And so you guys should be looking at a line chart right now. So this is kind of your first visualization. So for people that are brand new to Tableau, congratulations, we did it. From here, what I would like you to do is explore a couple other different things. So I mentioned to you when we got started that Tableau, you can ask to see, hey, let's look at sales over time to get an idea of trend. And Tableau built this line chart for you. But if I'm new to Tableau and I may not understand, really, I may not like this visualization, or I may want to build something different just because I see data differently, I may want to go ahead and check out some different options. So go ahead and look at my screen for a second. So in the screen share, what I'm going to do is go to the top and I'm going to navigate over to Show Me. So when I click on Show Me, this little menu pops out and I can see all these different visualization types that are here. If I want it to go away, I literally go back and I click on that word Show Me, and it'll pop right back up. So take some time to open up the Show Me toolbar and go ahead and click through a couple of different ways that you could visualize this data. So kind of play around with that. So you can see that when you get started with Tableau, you have a lot of different options. You have some flexibility in terms of how to get started, even as a beginner. So you really just have to know kind of what fields you're looking at, and Tableau will kind of help you make your way back. So once you've done that, go ahead and play around, take some time, click through some of those. And what I would like you to do is once you've clicked through a couple of those, use that back button or Control Z and go all the way back to that line chart that we had at the beginning. Okay, awesome. So now that we're there, we're going to do a couple other things. So if I look at my sales pill, so again, kind of take a look at my screen again, we're looking at sales, and up in our columns, we've got our date field. And right above that, there's this little menu that says standard. This is basically going to show us how big the visualization will look in comparison to the screen. So you can see that we've got a line chart that's really only taking up a small portion of the screen. I want to use that whole real estate. So let's change this, click on standard and change that to entire view. I'm going to go ahead and leave my cursor there so you can kind of see how to get it, but go ahead and expand your view out so you're looking at the entire visual, or you're using the entire space to show your visualization. And once you've done that, we're looking at this at a high level at a year. Let's go ahead and navigate to an individual point. So if I select 2017, for example, there's a little menu that pops up. So it says keep only, exclude. This is our little explain data that'll kind of give us a deep dive into why that mark is there. But off to the far right, we have this table called view data. Go ahead and click on that, and then go to your full data. And from here, this is where I want you to kind of scroll across and see this table. So this is basically all the columns and rows that make up this individual point. And if you want to even make this better, you can actually uncheck the box that says show all fields. So you're just kind of focusing in on the field that you have. But what I really wanted to do is kind of look at this for our order dates. So let's navigate there. And for order date, which we brought out into our view, we can see that it's broken down by the individual day. But Tableau has brought it out at a year level. So I can notice when I look at that pill, there's a little plus symbol in the far left-hand side of that pill. I would want you guys to take some time to go in and click on that. So if you watch my screen really quick, just go ahead and find that year pill for your order date, click on that and expand it out. And then you can see it goes to quarter. And when I click on quarter, it goes to month. When I click on month, it goes to date. So I can get a really great view of all of the different days for sales across this entire time period, just by kind of clicking and dragging and drilling into my data. So for us, we're really not interested in the day, and we're really not interested in the quarter either. So what I'd like you to do is remove those from the visualization. So you can do this a couple ways. So go ahead and watch my screen. So you're probably picking up a theme that within Tableau, it's just a lot of clicking and dragging. We're going to do the same thing here to remove things. You can do it to add, and you can do it to remove. So I'm going to click on the quarter pill, and I'm just going to drag it right up above our toolbar. And if you're watching my screen, when I've dragged it outside of the viz enough, you'll see a little box with an X. That basically means it's going away. I'm going to do the same thing for my date field, where I'll just remove it. And now I can see that I get a different visualization altogether. So go ahead and make sure that you get to this point where you've built out, our sum of sales for year and month. And I'll pause here and see if anybody is kind of fallen behind or has any questions. Okay, awesome. So let's leave this here for right now. And let's go down to the sheet. Let's double click on this and ask, what is our sales trend? So we've got an idea of kind of like the trend of our data for our sales. That's good. And now also right next to that tab that we just renamed, when I hover, there are 3 little icons. So off to the right of that, I can add a new worksheet, I can add a dashboard, and I can add a story. Let's go ahead and add another worksheet. And here, what I would like you to do is go ahead and we're looking at some geographic data. So off to the left of each of my field names from within Tableau, I see this little icon that basically indicates like what its metadata is. Is this a string? Is it a number? Is it a geographic location? And what's interesting in Tableau is that if you have airport codes, cities, states, you can develop maps just from that. All you have to do is bring in those names. Tableau will pick that up and start to map that data out. So what I'd like you to do is double click on city. And basically when I bring city into my view, I'm going to see this map that pops up. So here I can kind of scroll. I can see a couple different cities. We've got Cuyahoga Falls. All right, so it looks good, but it looks like we're missing quite a few values. And if I go to the bottom right-hand corner, it says there are 353 values that have unknown geographic locations. So I'm going to click on this and special values for city. Let's go ahead and edit those locations. So I hit edit locations. And I can see that for each of these cities, it looks like it's ambiguous. So that just basically means that there's more than one name or more than one place for some of these cities. So we have to be a little bit more specific, which is good because Tableau is basically telling you, hey, you've got bad data here. It's not just going to plot it. So I also know that I've got states in here. So let's go ahead and click and drag state. And let's bring that into our marks card. So I'm just going to drag that out. And I'm going to do that again. So if you want to watch my screen, I'm going to find state. Found it. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to drag it right out here. And once I move it into the view, you can see that that little null values error goes away. And then all my cities are populated appropriately. Cool. So from here, this is just showing us where our locations are. So what I'd like you to do is double click on sales. And when you do that, basically Tableau says, all right, you're looking at sales. We're going to apply this at a size. But when we do that, if you look at your map, you can see some of these points become very small. So navigate up to your marks card. Again, kind of take a look at my screen for a second before you dive in. you should see some of sales is on size. And when I click on that size marks card, I get this little slider that essentially allows me to change the size of the mark. And I can go big and I can go small. So what I want you to do is you can find whatever point you feel comfortable with, but make the points a little bit bigger so it's easy to see all of the individual values for those cities. And we'll kind of leave things here. And I'm going to rename this sheet, where are our sales? Cool. Any questions on building the map?
Nope, I don't think there are any questions yet.
Awesome. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and open up one more sheet. So if we open up this sheet, now what we're going to do is take a look at each of our sales across some of our categories. So for each of our product lines, let's see how they're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and double click sales, and I'm going to open up product subcategory. So bringing out sales and product subcategory, I'm going to try and build a view that makes sense for me. So again, for me, all of the titles are kind of running across the bottom of the screen. I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to sort it, and I'm going to make sure that I'm looking at this as an entire view. If you've gotten here and you have your bar chart built out, that's great. But I also want to give you some time now to change around the view. So if you want to either go to show me, or you want to add in, kind of move some of these pills around and see if you want to build something different, go ahead and take the next minute or so to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and give my sheet a little bit of a name. All right, so wherever you've landed, this is good. And now we're not going to add any more sheets. Let's go ahead and add a new dashboard. So click on New Dashboard. And when you do that, you're brought out to this new screen. So you can go ahead and look at my screen for a second. So I've clicked on this little table. I hit Add a New Dashboard. Now I'm going to grab our map and bring that out. I'll grab our line chart, bring that over, and I'll bring in our bar chart. And if I don't like the arrangement of this data, I can go ahead and change that. So again, one more time, we'll just kind of take a look at this. I'm going to grab this line chart. I'm going to move this all the way to the bottom. And maybe I move my bar chart off to the right. When I click into a visualization, there's a gray outline that goes around the actual visualization itself. And then in the middle, there's this little gray handle with two white lines in the middle. When I grab onto that, that allows me to move the viz around the dashboard. So you can put it anywhere you want. Go ahead and open up that dashboard and bring in those visualizations, either by double clicking on them or clicking and dragging them out.
We have a question. So can you go over how you sorted the subcategories again?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll navigate back to that sheet. Up at the top of the screen, we can actually sort a couple of different ways. So we'll do a couple. So first, go to your bar chart. Make sure that your subcategory, just for our purposes of this, I don't know how your screen is set up, but ensure that subcategory is on rows and sales are sitting in columns. And then go just above your top bar, and you're going to see this little sort icon. So if you're looking at my screen, I'm highlighting this little icon that pops up just as I bring my cursor right off that top bar. And that allows me to sort this data. So I can do that there. Or if I go up a little bit further and I make my way over to the toolbar, there are these two kind of bar charts with these up and down arrows. That is where you can sort your data as well. So now we've got this dashboard built for us. So let's do some things that we did from before. We saw like, hey, I want to be able to click into one of my subcategories and I want that to filter the rest of my dashboard. I'm going to click into the white space, and this is probably a good time for you to look at my screen as well. Watch me as I kind of click. Here's the viz that I want to start to use as my kind of filter to filter everything else out. I'm going to click in the white space. I see that I've got this gray outline, and I'm going to navigate to the upper right-hand corner, and there's this little icon that when I hover on it, it says use as filter. I'm going to click on that, and it goes from being like a gray icon with a white outline to being a totally white icon, and that means it's on. And so I can test that out by selecting a couple of my marks or bars, and I can see that, all right, now everything else is changing. So go ahead now, go back to your dashboard, navigate to that sheet, click on it, and then go ahead and turn that Use as Filter button on, and go ahead and select a couple of your marks. I'm going to highlight a couple. So we can see that when I look at, I don't know, accessories, for example, I can see a different distribution of this data. So this is all really good. So for everybody here, you've officially built your first dashboard in Tableau. So just taking a couple minutes, you kind of get the feel for how we can bring in data, ask questions, and put together a dashboard pretty quickly. So here, if you'd like to go ahead and save your work, go ahead and go to the upper left-hand corner and click Save As. And you can save it as, intro to Tableau, whatever you'd like to do. But this is a pretty good dashboard. But now we're going to go in and we're going to actually do a couple different things with this. So if I look at my sales trend, for example, I may say, yeah, this is pretty good, but I'm really interested in finding the average sales across all my years. And I really want to do that across, a couple of our main product lines, maybe higher up in the hierarchy. So I'm going to navigate out to this sheet. Go back to your what is our trend sheet. So this line chart that we made, and we're going to make some changes. So the first thing that I'd like you to do, maybe watch my screen first, is we're going to grab category, should be sitting up at the very top, and I'm going to drag that off to the left. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that is kind of sitting on the left-hand side. So now my line charts have all kind of been divided up. And what I'd like you to do now is, and actually you can watch me for a second, on our data pane, we've got data, and then right next to that is this pane that says analytics. I'm going to click on analytics, and I've got all of these different options here. So, for you guys, I can build out a forecast for our next sales. I can add in constant lines. I can add in, trend lines. I can do all the different kinds of things. So I'm going to back. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that from this screen, what I'd like to do is actually explore an average line. And for you guys, go ahead and navigate to the analytics pane, grab that average line, and go ahead and drag it to one of these three options that you have, either table, pane, or cell. Go ahead and play around with that for a minute. Perfect. So if you've done that, let's just kind of take a look at this for a second. For the table, you can see that it basically goes across all of my data across the entire table and connects to this data and basically gives me an average across all my years, all my months. For the pane, it's going to grab the data and actually look at it across all of my months just for that year, and then it's going to start over again on the next pane. So I get an average for 2017, 2018, 2019. And when I chose cell, it'll basically just look for the average of that month, which is essentially the sales of that month. So I don't need all of these. I'm actually going to get rid of them. Go ahead and click on this data and drag this out. Remove all those or do Control Z, whatever you'd like. Grab that average line and go ahead and drop that onto pane. And from here, what I'd like you to do is click on that average line. You can watch me for a second. We're going to change this. So we're going to edit. I'm going to make the label, instead of the computation, we know we're looking at an average. I'll just make it the value. And then I'm going to go down and there's an option to change how the line looks, or I could actually fill above or below. I'm going to fill below the line using a light gray, maybe a little bit lighter. Okay. So go ahead and do that. So you can add that into your visualization. So I just clicked on the average line. I went to edit, changing label from computation to value. And I went ahead and changed fill above or below to fill below using a light gray. So there we have a feel for, all right, which of our months are above or below that average? Pretty good. So I can see that towards the end of the year, it looks like for the most part, we have a couple peaks in technology that happen, before the end of the year, but this kind of helps me, bring some of those outliers to the forefront. If I look at the map, let's go ahead and navigate over to where are our sales. What I'd like to do here is actually say, all right, for these, I want to bring in another dimension. So we have profit as a part of our data set. Let's go ahead and grab profit and drag that onto color. So you can watch me for a second. I'll do it here. I'm going to grab profit and I'm going to drag that up to the color marks card. And you can see that it automatically applies that profit to each of our cities at a total. So it looks like I've got some cities in Houston that look orange. So Houston is like losing $10,000. It looks like Jacksonville is losing $2,000. So this adds a little bit more context into our data. And honestly, that looks pretty good, but let's also go over to our subcategories where we were looking at our sum of sales. Let's go ahead and bring profit into that as well. So I clicked and I brought profit in to put it right next to sales within our columns. I'll do that again if you want to follow along. So I'll grab profit and I will move that right next to sales. Boom. And it looks like it shows up here. This is all good, but because of all the blue, it's kind of throwing me. So let's grab profit and just click on it and drag it into the middle of the screen. So you get a little show me icon that appears. This is kind of Tableau's way of saying, hey, I'll help you visualize this. So now that bar chart from before, where we were just kind of looking at a sea of blue, we can actually see that tables is losing quite a bit of money. So that's pretty interesting. And if we want to sort this instead of on sales, but on profit, you guys have seen a couple different ways that you can sort your data. So maybe I bring the least profitable items up to the top so I get a feel for that. And now when I jump back into my dashboard, you can see that we've actually taken, just in a couple more minutes, a way of some other pieces of data to kind of open this up and make it a little bit more interactive. And it doesn't lose anything that we had from before. So if you select tables, for example, and you have that dashboard action that allows you to filter based on what you've selected, now you can see, all right, we're focusing in on tables because we're losing a ton of money. Where are we losing it? Apparently, we were so focused on Houston before, but oh my gosh, look at New York City. Like they're really losing quite a bit. What about Philadelphia? And I can get a feel for, all right, some of their sales are pretty high towards the end of the year, but it looks like that profitability is still a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and pause. If you guys have any questions, we've got about 5 more minutes left. If you have any questions for me about the data, about Tableau, we'll go ahead and open that up so you guys can get a little bit more insight.
Okay, so someone asked how you resized the sheets in your dashboard, and someone else asked how do you get the points on the map to be different sizes?
Yeah, good question. So to resize within the dashboard, just essentially click on one of your visualizations and then move your cursor right to the edge. So if you're watching my screen now, I've selected our, what's the sales trend, and move up. And there's this little double arrow where I can move things around that way. And then for, what was the other question?
The other question was, how do you get the points on the map?
Yeah, the points on the map. So if you've brought any of your marks over to size, you essentially go to your marks card and you click on size, and you use this little slider to change the size of your marks. So you can make them small, make them gigantic.
And then earlier, someone asked, how do we transfer arrays? It's kind of unrelated to the demo, but
Okay.
How do we transfer arrays of data from within Python to Tableau to actually start analyzing? Is there a preferred way to set up data for it to be easily transferred to Tableau?
Yeah, Tableau has a library for that called TabPy, where you basically just come in and you're able to set up your server to work with an external service, and you bring in Tableau or you bring in your Python data that way. And there's a couple tutorials that talk about it. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Okay, how long have you been working with Tableau?
5 years.
That was a question.
All right, cool. Anything else?
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much for spending your time to do this with us today.
Yeah, of course.
And for everyone, everyone in the workshop, this will be recorded, and after it's processed, it'll be available on the Tammy Datathon website. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye, guys.